Welcome back to Trojan Sports Now. Joining me now is Jill Lancaster, Director of Track and Field here at Troy University. And Coach, thanks so much for joining us today.
No problem. Pleasure being here.
Well, Coach, for people who know about the sport of track and field, it's not necessarily a season sport. It's all about getting prepared for the postseason. But what have you seen out of the women's indoor team so far this year?
Well, obviously, we're making big improvements because coming off a 4-week vacation, we can only feed them so much information when they're away from us. So we're able to insert some workouts here the past few weeks that brought us to another level at Arkansas State from our first meet. But by no way, like you said, are we where we need to be, but we've saw a lot of progress this week, and we call it dancing on the table. You start dancing on the table when you're ready for a breakthrough to a new level, and we're starting to see some of that, and they're starting to feel good about what's going on, and we look forward to this weekend and make another move to where we want to be by the championships.
And talking about the progress that you've seen from your team so far, you've seen a couple of top 10 performances all time here at Troy University. Talk a little bit about those performances and what you've seen out of those girls so far.
Well, our first indoor meet, obviously there's urgency put on your senior career. Jasmine Patton, who had come off surgery as a freshman, was slow to get her career going. She opened up, her old PR was 9:05. She dropped to 8:77 in the prelims and then 8:60 some. So she has a passion to make sure this last season. That moved her to number 2 all time, and that puts her with the likes of former Trojans who have been at the NCAA first round. So it's pretty promising, for her. And then freshman Julia Ostendorf, who led our cross-country team, dropped in her opening mark ever in indoors, a third all-time performance. So in the 3,000. So it's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you don't make your mark by getting on the ranking list, but you start putting your names around people who have accomplished a lot of things. That's a big boost for your confidence.
Absolutely. Very promising looking ahead to the future as well.
Absolutely.
Now, the indoor championships are just a few weeks away, but how do you feel your team is prepared, and how are they getting prepared by going through these meets so far, and with a couple more still to go? How do you feel they'll be prepared by the time that gets here?
Well, obviously we expect to see progress each meet, and this weekend going to Middle Tennessee, there aren't as many teams there, but the environment is very good. They only allow 5 or 6 teams in, and there will be other conference schools where we can start to measure up. It's really a check. You put a little bit of your Trojan pride on the line when you're going against Western Kentucky, Georgia State, Middle Tennessee, and us. And then there will be a few other smaller schools there. But it's a good way to have a good quality competition. It kind of gives you a hint of what's to come, and sometimes it's an eye-opener for some. Hey, I need to get my game on.
Now, looking ahead to the indoor conference championships, what events do you feel will be the strong point for this indoor team as they're going to that meet?
Well, obviously, we have a lot of seniors, and you always look to your veterans to come back and play. We have some strong throwers, but typically we're stronger in the outdoor events. Their events come outdoors, so they come in and get the points we can. Julia and Morgan Paulson leading that distance crew through cross country. We made great strides. I think they'll continue to do that. And then in the sprints, you've got to look at your seniors like Jasmine Patton, and Courtney Alexander, who was freshman of the year, when she first joined the program. And there's so many. I think there's about 8 or 9 seniors on that team, and they have athletes. Indoors we do the pentathlon. They both made marks that put them on the ranking list. So you get a sense that they have a desire to make things happen this year, and that's something I do not coach.
Well, you brought up the pentathlon. You had 2 athletes who went and participated in, I believe it was a heptathlon event, or was it a pentathlon event?
It's pen indoors, okay. And heptathlon outdoors.
Right. With the event up at Stanford recently?
Yes, the new complex in Birmingham, hydraulic track. Actually, that's where our conference is moving for the next 3 years. It's a high-quality facility, and we entered the pentathlon with the 2 of them, and in our training cycle it was a little early, but you can't pass that opportunity. Just like the weather today, you're losing workouts. We couldn't have had that kind of training session. So off of where we were, they had some individual personal bests, and looked really good in some events, so we've been able to come back and look at film and feel like we're well on our way in those areas to move forward again.
Now, looking past indoor, moving on into outdoor, what are you expecting from your team this season moving into the outdoor schedule?
Obviously, the way our team is set up, the outdoor events play into our favor over the indoor events. So the throwers will get to pick up the other throw events. Javelin be one of our strong suits. Obviously, we throw in the state. Not all states do. So that's a big bonus for us when in the recruitment process. And then in the sprints areas where we have some depth, obviously you're adding another relay and extra events. And it's going to be exciting now with that distance crew starting to catch some fire. I think we could hit in some areas maybe we haven't touched in the past.
That's good to hear. That's exciting news coming out of the program. But some other exciting news, we've talked about it with a lot of the other coaches who have moved into this new facility, but talking about Trojan Arena and having moved into the new offices, what do you think of the facility and getting to get in there and kind of participate and have your office moved on over there to the new suite?
Well, the biggest factor is what it's going to do for the athletes. We have got a locker room for the first time in the career of the athletes, and it's so critical, to whether you're prepared for practice or whether you're preparing to get treatment after a hard workout, and a place to kind of call your own, to put your stuff in, and it's right next to the facility, and that's huge. And like I said, we're experiencing bad weather right now. Well, you have an opportunity if we have to change workouts. We of course have all kinds of shoes and gear and equipment. You're right there next to it. And for me, that makes me more valuable in my time on the track. Instead of commuting from one building to another, I can walk out and in, and we evaluate a lot of film. We've got the camera right there. We can come down to the big TV and look at it hot on the spot so they know what we're talking about.
What has the athlete response been to having those new locker rooms, and even as far as bringing in recruits, what has that locker room really meant to the program and to these athletes?
Oh, it's overwhelming. I can't even, you can't put a price tag on something like that. The kids can hardly wait till we get in there. We've done our tour. Everybody's been in and signed their lockers, and we expect them to move in within the next week. And recruits, it speaks for itself when you walk in, whether it be the basketball, the weight room, the training room, or any office there, the quality and the movement the athletic department's making and great strides and helping everyone involved. And we're here to serve those student athletes, and I think that facility does it well.
And those new student athletes, signing day is just around the corner. Looking for a good signing class?
I'd have to say when they're on the paper, we can say yes.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking time out to talk with us today.
Thank you very much.
Trojan Sports Now.